the cross-cut force, the Erdnich change, the Hermann pass, the lateral palm, and the Charlie Miller cascade control. All of these are classics of card magic, like the kickflip in skateboarding, bunny hopping in BMX, or button smashing in Street Fighter. These moves are either very easy to pick up, like the duck change over here, or very challenging to master, which makes every magician want to learn them at some point. We all know just how satisfying it is to suck at something and then get better and better at it as you keep on practicing. If you want to get good at practicing just about anything, here are 2 videos that you can watch on the subject. So where am I going with this? There is a move in card magic that everyone knows about, but very few people have mastered. This move is called the top change. So let's watch together a magician that is considered to be one of the best performers of the top change alive right now.
So here we go, hold it very gently right there. Without looking, which one is in your hand, Amanda, without looking?
Oof, so smooth.
The black ace. Let's do that again because I went too fast. Have another drink. That'll help. Okay, here we go. Ace of hearts, ace of spades. You're going to get it this time, I know, because you see what's coming. Ace of hearts is in your hand. No doubt about it.
I like how his body language makes you feel comfortable with any sort of movement that he does.
Well, the 1% there, it is the ace of hearts. Without looking, tell me which one is.
He's going to do it now.
See, you're holding it hard now. You have the
So
death
good.
grip. Don't tell me what's in your hand. I have to tell you something. This has all been a red
So
herring.
good.
I told you I was going to get.
As you can see, completely natural and invisible in the hands of David Williamson. Hats off. I became obsessed with the top change last year and ended up reading every single book I could find on the subject. I wanted to know why was it that this slide survived for almost 150 years. I actually wrote a whole article on the subject, so if you want to read it, there's a link in the description. So in this video, we're going to learn the top change as well as 7 other variations, some which I found along my way and others which I have created myself. So grab your favorite deck of playing cards and let's get started. Welcome to 7 ways how to do a top change. Explain with this. Before we get started here, guys, just wanted to remind you to hit that subscribe button, drop a comment. Thank you very much for dropping so many comments on the latest video from last week. That was so nice. I was definitely not expecting that. Hats off to everybody who did that. And let me know what you would like to do next in the next episode. Let me know what you like about the series. If you have any difficulties, let me know in the comment section below. So yeah, let's take our favorite deck of cards and let's start learning the 7 versions of the top change that I've encountered in my travels. The first method that we're going to be looking at is one published in 1877, a book called Secrets of Conjuring and Magic by Professor Hoffman, which is actually a translation of Robert Houdin's Les Secrets de la Prestidigitation et la Magie from 1868. This is the method that I found which closely resembles the move that everybody is doing today. We're going to be holding the top card of the deck right here between our thumb and index finger, and we're going to push the top card of the deck to the right using our thumb. And this is the motion. This one goes underneath, exactly in the grip of those 2 fingers, and the top card goes to the left. So notice that the right hand doesn't do anything. It stays completely stationary. We push and then we pull this one, just like that. Push and then pull. If you want to get a better view of exactly what's happening, let me show you. So imagine this is actually a playing card. We're going to push this one underneath. It goes exactly there. And then as we move, that one goes to the left, right here. Again. Goes underneath and this one goes to the left. So try and get that down as best as possible before you try any other movements. Don't try to conceal this, just try to get this movement as smooth as possible, you know? Because this is going to be the foundation of everything that we're going to learn from this point on. Notice that one thing that I am doing different over here is that I'm putting my middle finger in this position. This is actually just something that I do. It's not something that is being taught with this method. The method explains that you're holding the card between your thumb and index finger, just like that. The way that you cover this, as you've seen in the performance by David Williamson, is a lot by the way that you talk. A lot of the books in the early stages of magic were talking about these very big hand swings while you're talking. But it was Professor Hoffman and Hofzinser that actually talked about having a very closed stance on the move, because from this position you could very quickly switch the cards as you're talking. Notice that when David Williamson is performing, he takes the card and then he's talking with the spectator, and in that motion, a very close motion, he switches the two cards, just like that. More than 100 years later, in issue number 27 of The Trapdoor in 1989, Harry Levine talks about how you can perform the classic top change, but instead of pushing the card to the right, just like this, like we've just learned, you will have a pinky break underneath the top card. Now, what this facilitates is that instead of pushing the card with the pinky right over here, which is great because one of the things that you might notice when you're pushing one card to the right is that sometimes, and I'm not saying all of the time, but sometimes you might push more than one single playing card. When you have a pinky break underneath the top card, you can only push one single card. But from this position, one thing that you can do is, instead of having the card being pushed to the right and pulled, what you can do is make these two meet, align, because your fingers can actually go underneath inside of that break, and then the thumb can just retain that card. Let me show you using the block over here. So I have a pinky break underneath the block, actually the other way around. So these two are going to meet. The thumb is actually sitting across the deck. This one goes underneath. My fingers go underneath inside of that break, but this happens completely naturally. Notice that none of the hands do anything. They just come together. And in this position, I just slightly apply a little bit of pressure with my left thumb, and this will retain the card that I was holding, and instead this hand will take the card from underneath. So while you're doing it fast, it will look like this. So there's no pushing from the left thumb whatsoever. It just happens naturally as the two collide. Over here goes underneath, and then you pull back. So this is one of the things that Mr. Levine has actually pointed out, which I think is amazing. And I believe it is an improvement on the top change, but at the same time, I have noticed that sometimes while I am performing this, my index finger might hit the side of the playing card, something that didn't happen before when I was doing the classic top change. So it is something to play around with and see which one of the two versions is actually the one that you want to use. Before we head into newer variations of the classic top change, I would like to just make a small note over here and quote Professor Hoffman, which said in 1876 in his Modern Magic book that none of the covers, either from the left or from the right, prevail over the other. So when doing the top change, it doesn't matter if you're holding the card in your right hand and you're meeting with the cards and then moving to the left, or you're on your left side, then you're coming towards the right, and then you're going to your right side. You should master both covers, because depending on the situation that you are in, you're going to have to use one cover or the other. You can't always just position yourself perfectly so that you can do it towards the right side, or position yourself so that you can do it towards the left side. So when performing in front of the mirror, make sure that you're always practicing both covers. Try to get it from the left side, turning towards the right, and from the right towards the left. And either go from the top when you're getting a card from over here and you're talking, and go, I mean, there's nothing you can do from the bottom from over here. It doesn't make sense. Like, look how awkward this is. So definitely from the left, front, and right side. Practice this so that you can handle the sleight in any situation. Here is Judson Brown's one-handed top change, which can be found in the August issue of Genii from 1937. And this is a move that, honestly, I have always loved. It can be used as a control, it can be used as a change. It's completely up to you. The way that you do this is by pushing the card to the right, and at the same time as you're pushing one card, you're going to be pushing the next card as well. So let's get this over here so you can see what's happening. So I am pushing one card, and then using this side of my thumb, I am pushing the next card as well. If this is not something that you can do, you always notice that you're spreading cards instead of just pushing two cards. What's happening is my fingers on this side of the deck are blocking all of the cards. But this is superseded by the fact that my thumb is pushing the top card. The rest of the cards are being blocked by my finger. So what happens over here is I am pushing one card, but notice how I'm bending my thumb. So after I'm pushing one single card, I am applying pressure with the rest of my thumb on the next card, while the fingers from underneath are actually blocking the rest of the deck. So let's see how that looks like from underneath. I am pushing the top card, and then notice that my finger is flexing, and I am pushing the next one as well. Once you're in this position, your thumb is in perfect position to pull this card towards the left side, while your fingers from underneath, so let me show you what's happening here. So I'm pulling the top card towards the left, while the fingers from underneath are actually holding this card in place. And it happens completely natural by the fact that these fingers have sweat on them and it sticks to the card. So we're pushing two cards, the fingers from underneath are holding that card while the thumb is moving the card toward the left. And from this position, all I have to do, just letting you know that I like you, I appreciate you, and I'm very happy that you're a viewer and part of the BBM family. Let's keep on learning. Is lift my hand so the spectator can see this card, and then I'm just going to allow this card to go back in as I square it up with my fingers. All of this motion happens as I am pushing one card over here, and then as I am lifting the hand up, I am pushing the next card as well, and I am pulling the top card towards the left side. Sometimes what I have noticed is that in this motion, I am over here, and then as I'm going up, the card will be sticking out very, very little. I mean, not a lot of people are comfortable looking at just a small index. So what I'm doing is I'm going to be using my fingers to square up the deck over here. And this, most of the times, is going to allow the card to be sticking out much more. So you are over here, I come out, and then using my fingers, see, I'm just going to pull the deck inside, and this card is going to stick out much more to the audience. Then from this position, I'm going to necktie my wrist, lift my thumb. This usually makes the card go in as you come down, and use my fingers to square the card. And you've now successfully showed the spectator the second card, so you can do whatever you want with the top card of the deck. You can go in an ambitious card routine, or you can do anything else that you wish. So there you go, guys. I love this version, and I hope you guys are going to learn it because it's so useful. Here is an absolutely gorgeous variation by Alex Elmsley from 1965. This builds upon what we've just previously learned, where you're pushing the card and you're pulling it over here. But instead of doing this with one single hand, you're going to be doing it with two hands. So here's what's happening. I am pushing this card towards the right, and at the same time, I am sticking this card right there flush with the deck. And as you saw in the performance, if you do this as the hands come up, it will look as if you place this card just right off the deck. And for a small little touch on this, what you can do is, after you've placed the card inside, you can grip this card using your fingers to make it look even more plausible that you just placed the card over there. But what I found to be a little bit awkward is that if you're holding the card as you're here, it doesn't make sense for you to be placing the card on the deck and still be holding it with both hands. So if you are pulling it there, if you are pushing it there, and then you're lifting, for me, it's much more natural to be holding it with the right hand. And the spectator will believe that the card is sitting right there on top of the deck to the side, and you're holding it with one hand. So these two actions at the same time, push, and then this one just slides underneath the thumb. It should happen without the thumb having to lift up. Just the card slides underneath, and you're lifting the hand. A beautiful, beautiful variation by Alex Elmsley. Oh, hey man. Yeah, did you subscribe? Good, nice, 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 yeah. See you later. Here is another variation of the top change that builds on Judson Brown's one-handed top change. And it's actually from 1982, The Complete Works of Derek Dingle, by Derek Dingle. Now, what he does is he takes one single playing card, he places it on the side of the deck, he talks or gestures, and then instead of placing the top card in his hand as he moves towards the right, he's going to execute the move and place the second card in his hand. So you place it over here, you're going to do the Judson Brown move, and you're going to take the other one. So you have a very nice visual image of the card being there, just one single card. And as you're headed towards the right hand, you're going to pull the top card, after obviously you've pushed the second card, and pretend as if you're taking the card from the top of the deck. Just like that. You know? So practice doing this, and then you can do it in a faster motion. Place the card over here, you have the 6 of spades, we talk, and then as I'm taking the card and maybe placing it down over there, I switched it for the following card. A very nice variation on the classic top change, which gives you much more mobility and visibility from this position, and I think Derek Dingle really brought something very beautiful over here. Hope you guys enjoy it. I'll do it one more time. It gets so addictive to do after a while. Obviously, you shouldn't probably do it so open over here like this, because people are going to be able to see it, but definitely cover it as you are talking with somebody. And maybe a little bit of a necktie, but not too much. Or you can just do this after you're talking with somebody. So you can place the card down, they're seeing this. You lift your eyes, you're talking to the spectator, and you're saying, can you please put your hand on this card? And for them, they see this, and then they see you do that. So there was no change happening inside of their memory. Here is Hofzinser's top change as explained in 1980 by Larry Jennings in the General Card, which is actually an effect published in Apocalypse, volume 15, page 350. I know that's a lot of crediting information, but I feel it's so essential as we are sharing this information with everybody. So the way that Hofzinser thought about the change is, instead of hiding it, what if you would just do it in plain sight? So what if you could do this change in such a way that you can just brush the card, I was brushing it here, you can just brush the card and at the same time you're switching the cards. You might have seen me already perform this a couple of times here on the channel because I am completely in love with this way of performing the top change. As when you are performing it with the backs of the cards, it's completely invisible. Now I'm going to teach you the Hofzinser's change first, and then I'm going to show you just a small variation on it, the way that I perform it. So when you're doing Hofzinser's change, you're just going to be doing this version where you're pushing the card and you're pulling it, but it's going to happen as you're as you're putting these two cards together. You're going to strike down the top card. Instead of pulling it towards the left side, you're going to unite these two and then go down. So it's going to look as if you're just brushing the card. So you're pushing, you're uniting, and then you're pulling this one down. And then you can give it a couple more flicks, just like that. So you go here and there. The only variation that, the only modification that I brought to this version is that I have a pinky break underneath, just like Mr. Levine was talking about. And instead of pushing the card, I unite these two. And then from this position, I'm just going to pull this card down. And if you do this one fast, it's not even invisible. I think it's a next level above invisible, if I should put it that way. Definitely, if you're not hurrying like that, you're over here. What I like to do with my ring finger is just level the card even higher so that I make sure I don't hit the side of the card as I am coming down, because I have the bad habit of performing this, as you can see, much faster than I can actually take the card. So I lift the card up using my ring finger so that I have more space there. So even if you would like to do the Hofzinser's change from over here, or you would like to do this one where you unite the playing cards, I think this version is a beautiful version to execute, especially if you necktie the deck a little bit and you're over here with one card, and then you can just do the change like that. And if you want, you can go repeatedly, just like that, and make a change happen in a very beautiful fashion. Something that is very beautiful for social media. Even another variation on this one, what you can do is have a card face up. This is for the move monkey, so completely ignore me if it's not something that you will ever perform. But for those of you that would like to challenge themselves, get a pinky break beneath the top two cards. And what you're going to do is you're going to unite all of these three playing cards. This one has to be face up. You're going to unite all of these three cards. Your thumb is going to push the top two cards, and your thumb is going to take them. So what's happening is you can actually perform, with one single playing card, you can perform a change. Obviously, you're going to have that card on top of the deck, but you can place this one on top so you can hide it. And I think this one is a great change to perform for magicians, because you have one single card here, there's no card over here, and still, when you unite them like this, you instantly get a card appear over here, which is such a beautiful moment for any card magician out there. And from this point, you're just going to do a double turnover. So there you go, guys. That was a lot of variations on the Hofzinser top change, but that's because I love doing it like this. And I hope you guys enjoy it as well. Here is a version of the classic top change which you might have seen people around perform. This one actually has so many names. I found it as the Temps switch, which is actually the original name of the switch. I found it as the Talazok switch. I don't think I'm pronouncing that right. And the John Braue Hammond switch. So this switch over here actually has three names. John Braue Hammond actually gives credit to Talazok, which is apparently the creator of this move, who happened to publish this before this was published in the Expert Card Technique in 1940 by Hugard and Braue, which is the switch that we're going to be learning right now. So this version of the top change happens in a biddle grip. So you're gripping the card inside of this position with your thumb and the middle finger. And what you're going to do is you're going to push the card from the left side to the right, and you're going to place this card underneath, and you're going to grab this card using your ring finger as the hand moves away. So those two come together, and you're switching fingers, and in that position, you're allowing the card to be switched in, honestly, a much more invisible way than for the top change. You don't need to do a lot of finger movement over here, but you're pushing, you're grabbing this card just like in the classic change, and then your ring finger is in perfect position to grab the other card. Because if you've noticed, when these two cards come together, this one usually slides to the right, and in that position is our ring finger to just grab it. What you can also do is have these two cards come together. You can have them inside of this nice thumb break over here, and then your thumb just pulls that one towards the left. So you have a pinky break underneath the top card. You're grabbing both of those just like this with a thumb break, and your left thumb is just going to retain that card as it moves. So in this version, you don't need to do anything with your ring finger. You're just uniting, and then your left thumb pulls the card towards the right. Uniting, left card pulls the card towards the left. And this is all possible because you have this pinky break underneath the top card. So if I would have, sorry about that, if I would have to choose between one of these versions, it would definitely be this one, as there is very little motion happening from any of the two hands. And just like I said in the previous classic top change version, you really do have to make sure that you are covering both from the right and from the left. So don't get stuck in just performing it from one direction. Make sure that you can do it by swinging your body in any direction. And if you want, you can even try and practice with your left hand doing all of the movement and your right hand staying completely stationary, or your right hand moving and then your left hand moving, or your left hand moving only, or only your right hand moving like this. And it will depend on the situation and on the motivation that you have, but make sure that you can master all of those. It might seem like a lot, but with this version, honestly, it's not, because all of this happens completely instantaneous. So there you go, guys, the Temps switch, a beautiful version of the classic top change, which can be done with more than one single playing card. It can be done with as many playing cards as you want. We're going to end this top change essay video with a variation of mine. I have been trying to think how can I actually change the card in my right hand while I have a card face up on top of the deck. This is something that card monkeys will appreciate because, you know, why would you need this? You can just turn this card face down. But at the same time, like you've seen in the performance, I feel it just adds another layer when you're performing to people, because you couldn't have switched this card for another because there was a card face up over here. So you don't actually switch up the card. What you do is you're going to perform the Judson Braue move over here, and at the same time you're going to get that playing card underneath this one. But instead of using this grip, which is the classic grip of the top change, we're going to be using a biddle grip right over here, just like we've learned previously in the Temps change. So from this position, it's much easier for us to have a card over there, grab it, and if we don't grab it completely flush with the card, we can use our ring finger to push this card and align it with the other one. Similarly, if the card is too much towards the right instead of the left, we can use our ring finger to just push the card so we can align it with this card. So what we can do is we're showing the tool, and then we're going to push this one, pull it, grab that card, and then square it over here as we are gesturing during our talk. And in that motion, we can make it look as if the card in our hand was switched for another in the deck, when in reality it's just, we just added another playing card on top of it, which is a great slide to use if you're doing a change like I just did in the video. Let's just use this king and the next king as well. So we're going to have the king over here face down, we have another king here, and we have the two. What I like to do is get a pinky break beneath that second card so I can just push it and pull this one much faster, similarly to the classic top change with the addition from Mr. Levine. So we have the card over here. I am pushing, I am talking, I am aligning over here, and then I can just wave it and transform it into a king. So I hope you guys enjoyed this version where it allows you to actually have a card face up on top of the deck. And I think there is much more to it than just switching it like this and doing a small change, but I will leave it with you guys to explore further using this method. So that was it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode, a very special episode exclusively focusing on the top change. If you would like to read more on the top change, there's a blog post. I'll drop a link in the comment section below, and as well as a bunch of other information like advice on the top change. You can find that in the description below as well. My name is Bez. I'm very happy that you're here with me. We do this every Friday, so make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notification. If you don't want to, you can definitely do that. It's your life. You can do whatever you want. I love you. Thank you for tuning in. Very happy that you've decided to learn the top change as well as a bunch of other variations. These are super dope, and I'll see you guys next week. If you're still watching at this point in the video, then drop me an email and I will share with you something.